90% of that done by the end of my first month in office. If I can't work for you for more than 8 years, which I think is a good thing, by the way, neither should any of those federal bureaucrats who are reporting into me either. 8-year term limits for the bureaucracy instead of civil service protections. That's how you drain the swamp. Shut down government agencies that should not exist. Go one by one. Take them out. The failed Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. Can't just fire Christopher Wray, the other Republicans will say. No, you're missing the point. You get James Comey 2.0 then. No, you have to be willing to go in there and shut it down. That's how you revive the integrity of a republic. Now, does that mean we don't have federal law enforcement? Is this impractical extremism? No, this is deeply practical. 35,000 employees at the FBI right now. 20,000 of them are back office bureaucrats in the J. Edgar Hoover building of the FBI. I'm sorry, they're going to go home and find honest work in the private sector. 15,000 of them, though, are cops, investigative agents on the front lines, generally good people, who we can move to the U.S. Marshals or to the DEA, which have been far better at fighting child sex trafficking or the fentanyl epidemic in this country. So there's once improving the effectiveness of actually doing the job, while not only saving cost and cutting bureaucracy, but ending corruption, which is something that we need to do as well. Think about the Department of Education. We will get in there and shut it down. Does that mean I'm against education in this country? No, to the contrary. That means that we have $80 billion of our taxpayer money that can go back to parents across this country to be able to choose where they send their kids to school. That's how you drive change. Shut down the CDC. Shut down the Nuclear Regulatory Commission that's hostile to nuclear energy in this country. I was just talking to somebody on the bus on the way over here. Shut down the ATF. Fundamentally hostile to the Second Amendment in this country. We cannot reform these agencies. We will get in there and shut them down. Don't start with last year's budget as the baseline and then try to massage it around the edges. No. Start with 0 as the baseline and ask what's actually necessary. That's how you drive change in this country. It's how you fight the national debt. It's how many CEOs, how I've run my businesses as a CEO. It's not complicated. It's called zero-based budgeting. It's how many CEOs run their businesses. That's how we got to run the federal government. So that's the first principle. We say America first. What is it? I tell you, America first does not belong to one man. It doesn't belong to Trump and it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to you, the people of this country. But we got to define what that stands for. What is that? We, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. The people we elect to run the government will once again be the ones who actually run the government. That's number one. And number two is 2 simple principles. That's it. That's the whole philosophy for how I'm going to lead this country. Second one is my moral duty as your next president. Those people who we elect to run the government, their moral duty is exclusively to the citizens of this country, not any other one. I'm a father of 2 sons. As a father, my sole moral duty is to my family. Nobody's going to shake me in that. Well, as your next president, my moral duty is to you, the citizens of this nation. That's what George Washington envisioned in the 1796 farewell speech. That's what our founding fathers envisioned when they signed that Declaration of Independence in 1776, when they enshrined that Constitution in 1789. So you don't know my foreign policy? It's pretty darn simple. Avoid World War III, declare economic independence from communist China, and then use our own military and our own resources to protect our own borders and secure Americans in our own homeland who are failing to protect today. That will change on my watch. That is my moral duty to you. Everything else, we can get into details on the policy. Shut down the deep state at home and stand for American interests when it comes to standing abroad. It's that simple. That's America first. That's how we take our movement to the next level. When we rallied behind the cry to make America great again, we did not hunger for one man. We hungered for the unapologetic pursuit of excellence in this country. That's what it means to be an American. We have a common set of ideals that set our country into motion in 1776. And I believe, deep in my heart, that those ideals still exist. I'm running for president to revive them. It's on the back of our coins. You go to the cash register on your way out, you can actually get your change. It's etched into each of those coins. What does it say? E pluribus unum. From many, one. That's what we've lost in this country. My generation in particular. I'm 38 years old. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. We were taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways that we are really the same as Americans, bound by that common set of ideals. I believe deep in my heart, those ideals still exist. I'm running for president to revive them. And here's how we're going to get it back. It's going to be what I said in the beginning, actually. It's going to be by all of us, not just me, every one of us, starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect thy neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. See, that's what this campaign is about. Speaking the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Speaking the truth, not just to the Democrats on the other side, but to our own party, our own side, right here when necessary in the Republican Party. That's what I'm doing on that debate stage. It does not make me popular with the Republican establishment. I promise you that. Ronna McDaniel said, I won't get another cent of funding from the RNC because I criticized our record of failure under her leadership. You got to speak the truth. And I want you guys to be thinking people here. Let's have some real talk. I was on a podcast on the bus ride on the way over here. It was with someone in Iowa. I forgot his name. But anyway, one of the things he asked me, he said, I see people who meet you and they like what you say, but how do they know you're for real? Right? I hear this one sometimes. He's a plant. Some people think he's a Trump plant. Some people think he's a left-wing plant. I mean, and people should be skeptical. I mean, our government's lied to us for a long time. And so as long as it's well-motivated and it's not cynically some super PAC game, any patriot in this country who's healthily skeptical of somebody who's asking them to represent this country across the table from Xi Jinping, I will always respect that. But we got not a lot of time left. We don't have time to dither around. You have a decision to make in about 30 days. And I want you to ask yourself something. Why am I the only candidate in this race who can even say certain things to you, utter certain words? That the carbon dioxide capture pipeline, working its way across half of the state, using eminent domain to seize the land of farmers who don't want that crap in their backyard, that it's unconstitutionally illegal and needs to end, that it's based on a climate change agenda that absolutely is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. The only candidate who can tell you that Ronna McDaniel should get the heck out of there, get the heck out of our house after 5 failed years of leadership of this party instead of tripling your salary on our backs. That I'll pardon every peaceful J6 protester on day one when I'm in office because that's the right thing to do for one standard of the rule of law in this country. I'm the only person in this race, on or off those debate stages, let's get real, who can tell you those things. Ask yourself why. You think it's winning me more donations? You think the super PAC puppet masters are flooding my coffers because I say these things? I promise you they're not. I'll tell you that. But I don't report to them. I report to you. The people of this country, not another one. This country. So that's what I would say. If you want somebody who's going to actually face down the deep state, actually speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. That's what I'm going to do as a candidate in this race. That's what I will do as your president for the next 8 years. And once again, we will have a government that finally tells the people the truth again. We, the people, we can handle the truth. We demand the truth. We require the truth. That's the vision that won us the American Revolution. That's what reunited us after the Civil War. That's what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That's what American exceptionalism is all about. That is what we will revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out today, guys. God bless you and your families. May God bless our United States of America. I want to open this up. Let us not hold back here. I'm going to sit across the table from Xi Jinping. Give me the hard ones, guys.
One of the biggest problems.
Sorry about that.
One of the biggest problems in our nation is media.
Yep.
Is controlling the public ideas.
Totally.
What will you do to, and Trump had a terrible time with the media.
Yep.
And that's where the deep state has been allowed to grow and develop.
Yep.
Is because of that. What are your plans to correct that?
Two things. One is we got to have the spine to show up and win. I don't know if you guys see me face off with Don Lemon. Nobody else was going on CNN as a Republican. I said, let me do it. We faced off. I educated him about the Second Amendment. Told him about the fact that black Americans didn't enjoy their civil rights until after they secured their Second Amendment rights. That made his head explode because to him, civil rights good, Second Amendment bad, chemical reaction ensues, he explodes. He lost his mind, but then he lost his job because he lost his mind so badly that they had to, he preached to me and said some things that even they couldn't keep, right? So part of this, you got to show up. I mean, I go to college campuses. I'll go to left-wing media, right-wing media, no-wing media. You got to show up. We can't go in our shell and hide. And I think that's something Republicans actually do a little bit. We'll preach about free speech to a bunch of people who agree with us. Well, there's no courage in that.
But Biden was able to stay in the basement and still win.
Well, that's a whole separate story. I mean, tech rigged it. So that's the second point I was going to make. The last bastion to protect us against that broken media is a free and open internet, actually. That's the backstop. So that's why I'm such a hard-liner on preventing any incursion on the freedom of the internet. So what's happening right now is people call it big tech censorship. We're always a half step behind, guys. Don't call it big tech censorship. That's not what it is. It is government tech censorship. The government is using these tech companies to do through the back door what government could not itself get done through the front door under the Constitution. That's the truth. That's illegal behavior. So I've said as your next president, anytime a government official has threatened a private company to do something the government couldn't do directly, we will publish it. Put the sunlight on there. And then anybody that's illegal behavior will hold any of them accountable. It's like Fauci using our taxpayer dollars to, through the back door, fund gain-of-function research. He should be prosecuted for that. Well, the same goes for any government actor that's using backdoor mechanisms to avert the Constitution. But securing that free and open internet, I mean, Elon did this at Twitter. One company, he's called it the Twitter files. I'm releasing the state action files across the entire economy. Protect that free and open internet. That's the backstop against the media. Now, the threats here don't just come from the left. I mean, you got the likes of Nikki Haley in this race, who said that in order to use a social media account, you have to use government-issued ID tied to your social media account or your internet profile. Hell no. That's not how it works in the United States of America. George Washington and Thomas Paine and John James and James Madison, these people, Alexander Hamilton, the co-authors of the Federalist Papers, they'd be rolling over in their graves. The freedom of speech means, actually, these people wrote under pseudonym. Those pamphlets on your desk are modeled after Thomas Paine, who helped start the American Revolution. So the threats are not just coming from the left. They're coming from, in many cases, within our own party, too. Now, there's a reason why Larry Fink, and you think about the founder of LinkedIn. LinkedIn censored me, but the founder of LinkedIn is a guy called Reid Hoffman. They're propping up other Republican candidates, too. Part of their point is if Biden's not going to win or whichever puppet in the Democratic side isn't going to win, we might as well have a Republican Trojan horse that accomplishes what we couldn't. So it's not a Republican versus Democrat point. It's deeper than that. It's about standing for the ideals enshrined in the Constitution. And today, the free and open internet is the best protection we have against that media overreach. Right there, sir.
This is still kind of raw.
That's allowed.
People in a robe in Colorado decided what 1.3 million people should be able to do in Colorado.
It's sick.
Now, the question is, do you support red states like Florida and Texas eliminating Biden from the race?
No is the answer to that, because that's just, then we're on a path to national divorce. I support, I'll tell you what I did do. Everybody else gives cheap talk, and I don't know if you guys followed this. I heard about this the other night between two campaign events when I was on the bus ride. It was about 20 minutes from one event to the other. I put out a video immediately making a commitment, and I stand by the commitment. If Colorado isn't going to include Trump on the GOP primary ballot, then I will withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot. And I called on Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie to do the same thing, because that's how you nullify their decision. Then they can't interfere. So if that's how Colorado wants to roll, then we're not doing Colorado anymore. And then that'll force, you know what happened? The Colorado Republican Party replied to my statement saying that, well, if they did that, I wouldn't have to do that because they might switch to a caucus that avoids the primary system. But it takes a leader to stand up to do it. And what disappoints the heck out of me, is the other Republicans, they danced around it. They didn't say, they're not going to make that commitment. They said, well, we need to collect the delegates. Well, what's the point of winning some primary if the entire system is rigged in the first place, right? So we got to stand for what's right. And I respect Trump because more than the others, he did roll over that log, and we saw what crawled out. But we got to go to the next level. I'm bringing the pesticide, okay? I think we're taking this to the next level, and that's actually what it's going to take. I'll go here, and then we'll go to the back.
This is a tough question.
That's allowed.
You talk about doing the deep state. Everything you said, I love. I love everything you're saying. But I can't imagine the deep state rolling over and playing dead when you try to fire 50% of their people. How are you going to handle that?
Yeah. Move fast and bring a chainsaw. Don't bring a chisel, you bring the chainsaw. So I'll tell you what day one could look like. And we're looking at the right way to implement this is day one. If you're a federal bureaucrat and your social security number ends in an odd number, you're out. If it's an even number, you're in. On day two, that's just step one. On day two, the federal government's half its size. And the sun will still rise in the east and set in the west. Not a thing is going to break. Okay, so then we bring the chisel out after that. And I say it has to work this way because this is where they duped Trump. They duped him. They said you can't fire those civil service employees because of civil service protections. Read the law, man. That does not apply to mass layoffs. They only apply to individual firings. Mass firings are what I'm bringing to D.C., and I'm bringing it fast. So will we get sued? Yeah, we will. We'll take us to the Supreme Court. The current Supreme Court agrees with me 6-3, and I give Trump a lot of credit for that. Now, the current Supreme Court agrees 6-3. That means it's now codified in judicial precedent. So the next U.S. president who comes after me won't have his hands tied in the same way. So that's how you drive change on the time scale of history. That's how you get this done. And it takes a president now who, yes, has sharp elbows, can break things, comes in from the outside. I bring that. Trump brings some measure of that. I bring that to the debate stage. I'll bring it to Washington, D.C. No problem with that. But it takes also a president who knows and understands the law and the Constitution in this country. And those two things don't usually go together. Think about that. Right, you have the business guy, sharp-elbowed, entrepreneur type. You got the legal scholar, academic type. Those two don't usually go together. And that's why I'm in this race. My faith teaches me that God gives each of us our unique gifts, that he works through us. And it is our moral duty to use the gifts that we are given to do the right thing in the short time that we are given. That's what I believe. That's why I'm in this race. That's why I think it has to be somebody like me that steps up to get this done. We'll go to the gentleman in the back, and then we'll come right up here.
Well, you first sure came to the right place for truth. We're in the population center of the United States, the center of American brains, where there's the largest group practice of transcendental meditation. That Oprah Winfrey did a special, actually 5 shows on, calling it America's Most Amazing Town. So I wonder if on your way out, you'll see, if you're going north, 2 golden domes where thousands of people have practiced transcendental meditation, which is
Great.
by people of all different religions. It's not a religious.
Are we going north, actually? Do you know if we're going north next?
It's like a mile from here. So
It's like a mile from here. Let's see if we have some time. Let's see if we have some time before we go. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Over
I think we're Rick.
300 studies published in peer-reviewed scientific journals.
I appreciate that, man.
The relaxation response. Basically.
What's your name, sir?
Rick?
I feel like we might have met before.
Yeah, at the
On
last rally.
Saturday.
Oh, good to see you guys. Yeah, good to see you. Thank you. No, that was nice.
MIU and
Awesome.
I came here for truth.
Thank you.
Truth is within, and we experience through a non-religious meditation technique.
I appreciate that.
Everybody.
Thank you. If we're going north, you have my word, we'll drive by there. Thank you very much. And if not, we'll come back. Thank you. And I appreciate you sharing that with me, sir. Thank you very much.
Really want to thank you for your commitment to speak truth to the deep state and to speak truth to American citizens. And I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War and the Cold War. They lied to us about Vietnam. They lied to us about the Cold War. They lied to us about 9/11.
Yes.
They lied to us about the Iraq War. They're lying to us about Ukraine. They're lying to us about what's going on in Israel. And I heard you on one of the podcasts the other night saying that you're looking for a diplomatic solution in Israel, and they should take care of their own business. And I appreciate the fact that you would like to end the Ukraine war. I hope it ends before the inauguration, because it's gone on too long now, and they're lying to us about every component of it. I really appreciate your willingness to pardon the J6 protesters. It was a sham. They got shafted, and they should all be released. But one of my concerns is something you said this summer. That you said that you would pardon Hunter Biden because you wanted to move forward.
No, I'll tell you.
That's not true?
No, it's not. It's this is what I learned about politics, man. It's such a dirty sport. It's ugly. You think it's going to be bad before you get in, and then it's a disaster. I was the first person to point out that actually our sending of $200 billion to Ukraine is actually a repayment on a bribe paid to Hunter Biden by Ukraine. It's not a coincidence that the very country that paid him $5 million is the one sending $200 billion in the other direction. And I think a lot of the Republicans redirect a focus in that direction rather than some lame gun charge or whatever nonsense they were talking about before. It's deflection decided to miss the point. I think it's because of my advocacy. But I'll tell you what, this just lift the curtain on politics, teach you how this works. So I said I would pardon Donald Trump on day one in office. I would pardon peaceful J6 protesters. I pardon Julian Assange, who's sitting in a foreign prison. Right? Chelsea Manning, who leaked the documents, got her sentence commuted by President Obama because she's transgender. I don't even think Chelsea Manning's transgender. I think she's smart. She claimed to be transgender. I'm losing track. It's one of the. I mean, but regardless, they did it because that's a politically favored class of being trans. But Julian Assange is rotting in a foreign prison. So I go down that list, and then there's this. Just teaches you how the media works. They said, well, Vivek, why are you going to pardon these people? I said, because they've been victims of politically motivated persecution through prosecution. They said, but isn't that, you're just saying that because you're Republican? I said, I don't know what Julian Assange's politics are. I stand by it. They said, man, you're just saying that because you're just picking Republicans. So I said, no, I'll pardon anybody in this country who was a victim of a politically motivated persecution through prosecution. Anybody. And that was the end of the interview. And then they just said, well, would that include Hunter Biden if he was the victim of a politically motivated persecution through prosecution? I said, it includes every American. They published a headline the next day. Vivek says he would pardon Hunter Biden, and it's just it's a Republican primary game because this reporter's in the pocket of some super PAC supporting some other candidate. Just the way the game's played. But on principle, yes. But is that a politically motivated persecution? No, it's not. It's getting to the truth of a bribe of how they sold off our foreign policy. And so if the courts support that fact is actually true, he will spend time in jail on my watch. So that's the answer. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a big concern about how much control BlackRock and Gale have. I mean, honestly, some of these foreign wars that we have, I mean, can we take our power back as American people, for these people?
Yes, anybody know what's your name, sir?
Dwayne.
Dwayne, I like your hat too. Do you know, you familiar with my background before I ran for president? Okay. Because it's all about this topic, actually. Anybody here heard about BlackRock, or does that mean anything to good? Good, all right. Or the ESG, is that, okay. So my career, I started as a biotech CEO. I developed a number of medicines. Some are life-saving medicines that are approved today. After George Floyd died, there's a demand that I make a statement on behalf of BLM. I refuse to do it. It generates a ton of controversy. I have to then make what I believed was the right decision then, because I wanted to speak my mind freely. I stepped down from my job as a CEO. I wrote my first book, Woke Inc., about the stakeholder capitalism politicization of corporate America. But then I said, I want to fix this. And I actually wrote a second book about this called Capitalist Punishment. It's about the ESG movement, about how BlackRock and other firms are using your money to vote for policies in corporate America's boardrooms using your 401k account that most of us disagree with and that don't advance our best financial interests. That's a scam of a generation. These are the most powerful companies in human history. BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard manage collectively over $22 trillion. It's more than the U.S. GDP in the hands of those three firms. More powerful than the Dutch East India Company. Even they couldn't control what you say or think. So my most recent career before running for president wasn't just writing those books. I started a firm called Strive that competes directly against BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, launched its first fund last August, and in the first year crossed over $1 billion in assets under management, which is twice as fast as it took JP Morgan to get to the same place, and put much of this ESG movement on the back foot. Now, BlackRock, again, it's always the left is always one step ahead. So they've stopped using the word ESG in response to basically competition. But they call it sustainable investing now. So it's the same thing, but under a different label. So how are we going to fix this? Some of this has to be through the market. It's going to take people like me. I think people like Elon Musk on Twitter, people like myself fighting the ESG movement in the private sector. But the head of the snake is still the deep state in the federal government. It's not the invisible hand of the market, it's the invisible fist of government. So Biden passed some pro-ESG rules that say investment managers no longer have to be bound to the standard of investing for profit. No, that changes. We're going to rescind those rules. California, New York, the blue state pension funds are using our money as government actors to tell those firms that they have to do these things. That changes on my watch, too. So anytime, I talked about this for tech companies earlier, talk about it for financial institutions now. Anytime a government actor is using a private actor to do its dirty work through the back door, that's illegal and unconstitutional behavior. That ends on my watch. That's how we regain our sovereignty as the United States of America. And I'm glad you asked that. You may even be interested in some of those books. If you're asking that question, I think this has been my passion and what brought me in. We'll take these last... Oh my God, so many questions. Got a nurse here who's off work. I can't. Okay, we'll give you the mic and then we'll go. I'll go rapid fire.
I'll be quick. We have a lot of veterans in this country, and yes,
Right here.
and some
This
here.
gentleman right here. Thank you.
My husband, my son-in-law, but we have so many veterans, and their benefits and the way that they're treated is horrible.
Yeah.
So how can that change when these others come in and they get everything and the veterans are homeless on the street?
That's what I call America Last policy. First is those people aren't going to be coming in. Use our military to secure our own border, seal our southern border, stop federal funding for sanctuary cities, stop foreign aid for Central American countries, end birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal migrants to this country, and actually deport anybody who's in this country illegally. Full stop, period. Don't apologize. Our America Last policy, even the Republican Party wants to cut veterans' benefits and cut Social Security to ship more money to Ukraine. Not on my watch, we're done with that. Comprehensive veterans policy that I've released, okay?
Mr. Vivek,
Yep.
why are our borders still open? 14,000.
They're open because they want to ultimately stuff the ballot box with people who are going to make for a permanent Democratic majority.
But is it
That's the
if,
answer.
when, not if, that we're going to have more 9/11s?
That's a hard question, and I fear the answer to your question is yes. I can't lie to you. I think that our homeland is more vulnerable now than it's ever been, but the best we can do is the day I take office, we're done with that. We will deport anybody who's in this country illegally, mass deportations, and we will seal that southern border. And I just want to address the question about national pride in our veterans. That should be the last benefit we ever touch or cut. We have comprehensive veterans policy. I want the VA to operate like a company. A company says the shareholders determine the pay of the CEO. Well, I think the veterans should be determining the pay of who runs the VA. That'll actually make them responsive to our own veterans. And if we're not standing up for our veterans, we don't have a country left. Young people aren't joining the military because they're not stupid. If this is how you treat veterans on the back end, why the hell would I join on the front end? That changes on my watch. And if this is your husband, sir, thank you, too, for your service. I appreciate the many veterans who are already in this room. We'll take it briefly, sir.
The VA stands on a judicial principle that the king does no wrong.
Yep, exactly.
That's exactly what
Accountability in the VA.
there is no accountability.
Well, that's what I say.
How
Accountable
would
to
they
the
do
shareholders
when they-
who are the
when they
veterans.
have a union that spends
Yep.
millions and millions on
And-
holding these.
And believe me, my mom was a geriatric psychiatrist, but she worked in the VA treating patients with PTSD. My wife is a throat surgeon, but she's interfaced with the VA. We understand this.
I was turned away for 3 years.
It's
from my
sick.
VA. 3 years because I couldn't put something in front of my face, and I still have yet to see my doctor at the VA.
It's-
3 years.
it's-
I hope you can fix it.
We can fix. That's what hurts me. This is fixable. The country that put a man on the moon can get this done. You shouldn't have to drive 200 miles. Sometimes we have to drive 150 plus miles to get to the nearest VA. You should be able to get community-based medical care near you and have the VA system basically pay for it. That's what we actually need, is stand for our veterans. Decompression buffers when you come back from combat before you thrust them back into normal civilian life. That brings down the rate of PTSD. Let's get medical choice for our veterans. They're turning to fentanyl and suicide. Deschedule Schedule 1 therapeutics through the VA. I mean, now that's spicy for the Republican Party. But I stand for actually the people who have served this country. We have to serve them back. Young man right here.
Mr. Vivek, in the first debate you mentioned that you were wanting to raise the voting age to 25.
Well, I'll tell you how it works, actually. What I believe is every 18-year-old should have to pass the same civics test that every immigrant has to pass in order to become a voting citizen of this country. Right, so that's what I mean. I think every 18-year-old should. I met a 10-year-old girl who was at a pizza ranch last week who got 100 out of 100 on that test. She's 10 years old. If she can do that in Iowa, every high school senior should be able to do the same thing.
I agree with you, but if elected, do you have a plan to potentially get rid of the selective service?
Yes.
It seems kind
Yes.
of counterintuitive.
Yeah. No, that's all part of the same plan. It's a great question. You guys are getting some good questions here. Absolutely. And the selective service only applies to men, but not women. Forget that. So this is instead of that.
Amen.
This is actually civic knowledge as a duty to the country. I love that. Right here. I'm getting so many good questions. I'm trying to go rapid.
You need to come back because we have too many questions. And look, people stand. People see.
I'm a nurse too.
Thank you.
And
You know?
COVID, would you
And the nurse right here working here. You guys are doing service to this country as well.
You need to come back. Because
We will
it's
come
too
back.
much people. The Maharishi have thousands of students there.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean?
We will come back. I love this place. We're going to all 99 counties more than twice a piece, and so I
But
appreciate that.
We are talking the truth.
That's what this country needs more of.
And 50 years in healthcare. I'm
A lot of healthcare.
I'm an OT. I'm an occupational therapist.
Thank you.
I guess I'm going to be honest. I've been a lifelong Democrat, but I chose not to be vaccinated 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and now everything is falling apart. And I think I'm
Yes.
probably the only healthcare worker in this town who's not vaccinated. What about Pfizer?
Yep.
You know, the
I'll tell you
big
exactly.
Pharmacies, the Monsanto.
COVID is
what do we
bio-
do
So I'll
with
tell
it?
you, when I gave an answer at the 4th presidential debate about this, I can't make this stuff up. It's interesting. I learned this only 2 weeks ago after the debate. It was streaming on Rumble. When I gave the answer to this, they said the program will return in 4 minutes. I'm not kidding. They cut off the stream when I said what I said here. This is a third rail. Right now, there's a special blanket of immunity for vaccine manufacturers from being sued for vaccine injury. That doesn't apply to any other class. I have said I will repeal that. And I stand by that promise, and we will see it through to get justice in this country. That's the answer. If they tried to censor me, we say hell no to that. That's exactly right. Sir, we'll give you the final word.
So, are you aware of what Ukraine was called 1,000 years ago? What name did that country go by?
No.
Okay.
Russia.
No, it was called Khazaria, and it was
Khazaria.
surrounded by all of their surroundings,
Yeah.
invaded, and tried to change their way of being. This is all payback for that. I gave the details from Veterans Today magazine to your aide with the cowboy hat.
All right.
Please.
There he is. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll just say one word.
It's very, very relevant.
Good. I'll take a look at that, sir. I appreciate that. I come back to the point of...
Make sure that next year's election is.
Oh, great question. We got to close on this. We can't. I mean, I want to... I would have loved my answer to your question to be no, that we're not at risk of another attack on our own soil. But when our borders is open, I can't tell you that. I'd love to tell you that we're going to have a completely even playing field in 2024. I can't tell you that.
Is there anything
That'd be a lie. Look at what they're doing in Colorado already. So here's the only answer. I'll tell you what I'll do when I get there. Single-day voting on election day, national holiday, paper ballots, government-issued ID, and English as the sole language that appears on a ballot. That's not too much to ask. That's not controversial. That's common sense. That's what I'll get done. But I have to win this election. We have to win this election to make it so. That's why this has to be a landslide. This cannot be 50.1. It doesn't work. We're skating on thin ice. We don't have a country left if that happens. I'm the only candidate in this race that can actually deliver a landslide moral mandate, like what Reagan did in 1980. And I know it would have sounded ridiculous for him to say in December 1979 as it does for me to say today. But I will deliver you. You make me the nominee. I deliver you a landslide by bringing young people along. We're bringing them along in droves in this race, in a way the Republican Party is normally written off. Libertarians, liberty-minded America First patriots who haven't traditionally participated in Iowa caucus.
Constitutionalists.
Constitutionalists, absolutely. I don't care what your label is. If you're pro-American, we're on the same team. That's why I'm going to win the Iowa caucus, actually. We are going to win the Iowa caucus. Most of our supporters are not even polled. Some of them haven't even gone to a caucus before. So there's a shock coming on January 15th. But the same reason I win the Iowa caucus on January 15th will be why we win this general election in a landslide. And a landslide minus some shenanigans is still a decisive win. That's the best we can do. We're riding on broken rails. Bring a freight train that is unstoppable on that broken rails. Then you come down and lay the proper tracks. That's what it's going to take. And, you know, but just by show of hands, you know, how many of you, my hands up, were big supporters of President Trump in the past? Great. That's my sense as well. I respect his accomplishments. He kept us out of war. He grew the economy.
Failed the VA.
Well, I mean, I could pick on a lot of things, but I'm not going to be the candidate who Monday morning quarterbacks something. Everybody's imperfect, and that's what
He fixed it. He
But
didn't fix the VA.
well, you know what? Or you could talk about your issue, vaccination, right? You could tell me you could go to straight down the list, but that's not my point. My point is this: he went as far as he was going to go. We now need somebody with fresh legs from the next generation to take our agenda to the next level. I said it before, I'll say it again. America First does not belong to Donald Trump. It does not belong to me. It belongs to us, to we the people. This is bigger than one man. And I think when we see it that way, I don't even think they're going to let the guy get anywhere within spitting distance of the White House. Think, people. Right? What do you think? I mean, what do you see? They're giving you every clue you can from Colorado on down. Don't play into that game. Let's go the new direction. Take our movement, same principles, same ideals, standing for the Constitution, but actually see it through. It takes somebody who knows the Constitution to be able to swear an oath to it and keep it. I don't say that facetiously. I don't think most people who have sworn an oath to the Constitution in this country have actually read it. Right? You got to understand what you're actually standing for.
You're going to need about 24 of these guys.
Oh, this is just my policy advisor. Advising on keeping our family safe policy. But I'll tell you, in all seriousness, and you know what? I'll say a word about this before we close. Are you guys interested? Because it is my faith that brings me into this journey. You guys want? Can I share a word about that with you guys?
Free country.
It's a free country, but I want to. You guys deserve to know really everything about us. I'm Hindu, right? That's different than most people who have run for U.S. president in the past.
Not different here.
Oh, no, maybe not even here. Maybe not here, apparently. But we share the same value set in common. My faith teaches me there's one true God. He puts us here for a purpose. It's our moral duty to realize that purpose. We're equal because God resides in each of us, even though he works through us in different ways. My parents taught us family's the foundation. Marriage is sacred. That there's more to this life than just this life, but the eternal life. When I read the 10 Commandments for the first time in 9th grade at St. Xavier High School where I went, it didn't feel like I was reading it for the first time. There's one true God. Don't take his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath. Honor your parents. Don't kill. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't commit adultery. Don't covet. These are the values I grew up in. They are the values that this nation was founded on. And so some people will ask me, a good-hearted woman asked me earlier today, she said, but I want to support you, but It's difficult for me because you're not a Christian. And I appreciate that honesty. I told her what I'll tell you is the easy thing for me to do would have been to, shorten my name and claim to be a Christian. I'm not going to do that. I want to tell you who I am and what we stand for, but we share the same values. So am I going to be the president who spreads Christianity through this country? No, I'm not running for pastor. I am running to be president, and we share those values in common. Swear an oath to the Constitution, including the First Amendment, which guarantees religious liberty in this country, which we've seen an assault on, including an assault on Christianity. So I think I will be the president who better stands for those values than any traditional politician who's come before. To make faith and family and patriotism and hard work cool again, actually, for the next generation. That's my job. I'm 38. I want to reach that next generation, revive our sense of pride, revive who we are as Americans, take our shared vision for America First to the next level. And am I going to stand for those shared values? You're darn right I am. Am I going to stand for the Constitution, the right to speak freely and worship freely? You're darn right I am. And if you all do your part, I promise you, my family and I, we are going to do ours to make sure, not in some cheesy politician way, but in a true way, to make sure that our country's best days are actually still ahead of us. I'm going to ask you for your help to do it. The system does not want me to do this. They have an allergic reaction to my presence in this race. The super PAC puppet masters want this decided through the TV ads and otherwise, but they don't get to choose. And I don't report to them. I report to you. The choice is yours. 15 minutes of your time, maybe it's up to 30 minutes of your time on the Iowa caucus, January 15th, to save this country. If you've come before, great. If you haven't, please come too. And I'm going to ask for a donation from you. It's the most important donation I'll ever ask you for. It's not a donation of your money. It is a donation of your time and effort between now and then to tell 100 people in this community what we talked about, to bring them out to the Iowa caucus on January 15th. And if you all do your part, I win this Iowa caucus, I'm your next president. If I'm your next president, we revive the heart of this country. So yes, if you do your part, we will do ours to make sure that this is still the country where no matter who you are, we'll look our kids in the eye. How old is the little one in the back? 7 months. My younger one is about 17 months, and I remember that like that was yesterday. We want to look them in the eye and tell them and mean it that this is the nation where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, or how long your last name is, in my kid's case, that you will get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication. And that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help, that is what we will revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out today, guys. God bless you. God bless your families. And may God bless our United States of America. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. I love this.
So you can come back.
Merry Christmas. I'm coming back.
Yeah?
I'm coming back. This is so good. My son's going to love this. Karthik, he's right here.
This is for you, and this one.
You did? Was it my wife?
First name was Raj.
Oh.
Internal.
No,
interventional
thank you.
radiology.
No, it was not. It was unrelated
No?
then. Thank you.
Unrelated.
Thank you.
Good to see
Thank you.
And the chair. for
Oh my
Jefferson
goodness! Thank
County.
you, guys. We're going to take this. You're the chair for Jeff, and you're a nurse on the day. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I have to
My
go
wife
back
would.
to
My
work.
wife would be so grateful for you being here. We need more nurses in this country.
Yes, we do.
We
I
do.
talked
Thank
to
you for your
guys
service.
About the, before Thanksgiving. to put a sign on my yard.
We would love that.
And I never seen the
Hey.
sign.
Matt.
That was
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving.
Well, we got to change that. That doesn't sound like that. That sounds good.
Thank you all for being
Stay
here.
right here.
He
30
said
seconds of your life. We'll
they're
get
going to
this
put the
done.
biggest sign in
Sign
there.
our
That's
caucus
right.
card,
That's
sign
fine.
I want
this.
that.
We need to get you to all the information you need.
Hey, this man said he was going to put up the biggest sign we wanted before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah?
We were supposed to follow up with it.
Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, we're going to make sure that changes. Can we do that now?
I got-
This is the head guy now. We're going to do that right now.
They got my address.
They got his
my
address. Can we do that? Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
the publisher of the local
All right,
paper.
Oh, that's you. Thank you. Keep up the local press, and I appreciate your support, man. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate
If we
that.
can do this here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Vivek.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless
you. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Spread the message.
When you share with people that God loves them, people remember God loves them, and you'll get elected.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. That's the right message, and it's the truth.
Remind people
God loves
to
us.
remember.
Yes. Thank you. You have my word on that. That's a great point. Thank you.
You'll make it.
I love you.
I'll see you
I
there.
love you. God loves you.
I'll see you
That's
there.
right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Vivek, can I get a selfie?
You are part. You asked the right question, brother. Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. He'll take a picture. Or he'll take a selfie. Thank you.
Have my son give me a picture?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He's going to go in politics.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Sir,
Thank you, brother.
thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you being here.
I
Spread
am
the
a
message, guys.
Great fan of yours, Vivek.
Thank you.
And I feel like I know you. I watch all your
with you as well.
videos.
Thank
on
you.
YouTube, so
Thank you. You
for
spread this
everything you're
message.
doing. I will. I'm
and we're
doing
going to do
everything
this.
I
May I
can.
have a photo taken
Yeah,
with
it's a
you
real
as well?
quick one. Yep.
Alright, awesome.
Time to go? It's time to go. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
sir,
you.
I
appreciate
definitely
it.
appreciated meeting you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you back.
I
Thank
want to
you.
shake your hand.
Thank you.
I'm the news
Yeah,
director
let's
for a
do it.
local radio station. in
Awesome.
town. Who should I give my card to?
Here, give it to.
I'll take a pic with you. I'll give you mine as well.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Wanna
Thank you.
sit next?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ready right here?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. I'll sign that. They're going to drag me out of here. Thank you very much, man. And you have my word about standing for our veterans. We've offered comprehensive VA policy. It's practical stuff.
I appreciate that. I'm married to
Thank you.
a Marine veteran.
You are. Tell him thank you and tell your family thank you.
Gavin's in the Naval Academy.
Thank you, man. I'm proud of you.
Brandon's
Serving our
active
country.
duty.
Where at?
A boot camp right
Which division?
I'm a weapons instructor.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys.
We've had a horrible experience with the VA. So what you
Most
said
have.
would
Oh my gosh,
really
so cute. Yeah, thank you.
matter a lot.
Thank you. That's
So-
what we're going to do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's if you don't stand for our veterans, we don't have a country. So, this way. Hey guys, thank you very much. They're dragging me out. We'll kind of come back to this town.
Building from
Thank you.
ground up for
Thank you.
35 years in this
We'll be back in
county,
January.
And to take back the republic. And
That's what we're
find
gonna do.
support. And I have a place we can have free meetings.
We would love that.
Yes.
If you tell our team where it is, maybe we come there.
Come stay there.
We would be honored to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. And we can take one outside. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Oh,
We appreciate it. We're going to come back, and we're so grateful for you guys.
We will be
Thank you.
back.
Thank
It'll
you.
be 2,000 meditators
Thank you.
coming
Thank
here
you, guys.
on December 26th.
That's awesome. December 26th?
We're going to study the statistics.
December 26th?
statistics.
Thank you.
30 seconds.
Are they Iowans mostly?
Do I have 30 seconds of your time?
Sure.
I got
On the
an
way out.
issue I want to explain to you.
Sure. Tell me.
The Colorado Supreme Court.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Proud of you.
Yep.
Keep us spreading the word.
Court.
Yeah, oh, I'm familiar with this.
Okay. The lower court.
Good to see
May
you
God
guys.
bless us.
Thank you. May God bless us. God loves us. Yeah. Thank you. Let's do it. Maybe right out here. Right out here we could do it. Thank you.
I just wanted to tell you, I'm a soon-to-be former Democrat. So
Okay.
I'm
Like it.
totally in.
Thank you
and
for
I'm
coming.
gonna caucus for
Thank
you,
That
and
means a
thank
lot
you
to
so
me.
much.
Spread that message. Spread that message, guys. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I
Truth
appreciate
is
it.
within.
Truth is within. I love that. And it works through us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It was an honor to be here.
We'll see
Thank
you
you, guys.
soon.
We'll see you soon. I'm excited. Thank you, sir.
Me too.
We'll be back. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the lower court
Yep.
said that he couldn't be kicked off the ballot.
I know that, yep.
Because he wasn't an officer.
Yep. That's the right answer.
Well, here, thing
Get
is,
rid of the GMOs. Get rid
Yeah,
of
of
the
course.
fucking GMOs.
Yeah, but it's not good for our health.
No.
Yeah, no, we know that.
Listen,
I've been saying that for a long time. It's all lobbying. It's all lobbying, actually.
It is. It's all lobbying. That's the problem.
Come to our caucus. You should be in our caucus. You're saying the right things.
I was a Bernie delegate.
From New York.
Thank you.
New York is unbelievable now.
It is.
The migrants.
We're going to fix that across the country. Thank you.
know your concerns, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. No, but I think that's unconstitutional.
The thing is, listen.
Yep.
He's not only going to be voted for president, but he's also the commander-in-chief.
That's right.
Okay. Commander-in-chief
Could be
is
an officer. Oh, interesting point. So either way,
Commander-in-chief, he's the head of generals.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Majors, all the
I understand what you're saying.
And-
Well, regardless,
and if he's a commander.
well,
of the
regardless, I'm going to be
military,
the one who's I'm running. That's what I'm running for.
I
So I'm asking for
understand
your help
that.
to
I
get me
understand
there.
it.
Yep.
I'm all for you.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
But we want to follow the law, don't we?
Yep, we do.
Okay. And so he is an officer if he's a commander-in-chief. And I want you. I can't spread the word. You can.
That's a good point. I'm going to look into that argument right now. I actually think that's kind of an interesting point you raised. I think it is.
And he's not
What's your name?
Not only president, commander-in-chief. He has another title.
Yeah, leader of the executive branch. What? Thank you, man. What's your name?
Robert Huff.
I appreciate that, Robert. That means a lot. Actually, it's an interesting argument. I have to say I haven't looked into it. So, thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it, Robert. It does help, actually.
I'm a genius.
I love that. I love that. It is actually very good. No, thank you. I'm gonna look into that. That's smart. Thank you. Huh? Thank you. Pretty good. Hey, you riding with us?
Yeah, I'm here to interview you, actually.
What's that?
I'm
for
here to
what?
interview you.
Nice. Let's do it, man.
Find a good spot to get out of here. Now you know how much it like stabs me every time I hear one of those. I get them a lot.
What's that?
I mean, the guy who's